Welcome everyone to Net Zero. My name is Sofia Lana, and today we will speak about education and how is it crucial to promoting climate actions. UNESCO is the leading UN agency in the implementation of the SDG 4 education for the 2030 agenda. And today we have Alexander Leicht, is chief of the section of education for sustainable development of UNESCO. And it's for me a great pleasure to welcome him to Net Zero today.
Very happy to be here. Thank you.
Alexander, we will start with the first question. On any given day, over 1 billion children head to school. The United Nations has called climate change the biggest threat modern humans have ever faced. What is being done globally to make climate change a part of every school curriculum?
It's clear that climate challenge is really the greatest challenge that we are all facing. And it's also clear that the usual solutions, technological solutions or economic solutions, while they're all very, very important, are not alone. It's really about sort of rethinking everything that we do, changing our lifestyles, changing the way we think and act. And that means education is really crucial to address climate change. We as UNESCO have been running a program, Education for Sustainable Development, for a number of years now, and we've really advocated with governments that climate change, climate action needs to be a core curriculum component in all schools across the world.
How can climate change in curriculum impact the race to net zero? And with this, I want to open a bit to be more specific. If we are realistic on the time to achieve, for example, the SDG for education for 2030, we are on time.
First of all, we need a kind of reality check. I mean, as I said earlier, with regard to your first question, education is crucial to moving the climate agenda forward, but we also need to be realistic in the sense that education cannot do it alone. So I think we need a partnership approach between education and other stakeholders in society, all other stakeholders in government, other stakeholders in society, in particular, the alliance between education ministries, the education sector, and environment ministries. The environment sector is crucial really to move the agenda. So my view is a little bit sort of the glass is half full and half empty at the same time. There's a lot of momentum, a huge amount of good practice across the world that we can witness and that we are promoting as UNESCO, but there's also a lot that remains to be done, so that we will need a very, very, very big push in order to achieve our 2030 targets.
Many believe a climate change curriculum requires a multidisciplinary approach, of course, taking in consideration different types of way of thought, cultural. What is your perspective on this?
I mean, for UNESCO, we are very much of the view that climate change and sustainability more generally needs to be integrated across the curriculum. So it's not enough to teach kind of knowledge about climate change, for example, in the sciences. This is very, very important, and it needs to be done, and we are supporting that, but it's not enough to stop there. If really learners should become change agents for sustainability, they also need to develop their social emotional competencies, for climate action. They also need to have action competencies that would include the civics and the citizenship dimension. We need to teach in schools how to become really, in a way, a climate activist, let's say, who can engage in the political process at the country level in order to push for better climate legislation, to push for better climate policies. All of that meaning that we need really a kind of multidisciplinary cross-curriculum integration of climate change and sustainability.
Last question that we have today is an open question. We would like to hear if you have other messages that we missed in the past questions, takeaways for our audience, resources or specific things about climate change and curriculum that you would like to add.
One very broad message and a few more specific ones. The very broad one is really just to reiterate what I said at the beginning. I think that the climate crisis is so dramatic that education really needs to fundamentally transform itself in order to be able to address the climate crisis. I mean, we cannot do anything against the climate crisis through some kind of old style teaching, through sort of compartmentalization to different subject areas where sort of everyone goes in their own direction. And so we really need a very kind of holistic and fundamental transformation of the education system. And we're very happy to see that this view also gains traction, in the sort of among policy makers. Beyond that, of course, much more specifically, I mean, I really invite your listeners to check out our materials. We have a lot of, on the UNESCO website, we have a lot of materials that, for example, explain in a very clear, hands-on, step-by-step way how you can transform at the school level the school into an environment where learning for sustainability takes place, where climate change is integrated into the curriculum content, but where also the whole school space, basically the campus, is designed in a way and transformed in a way that students can learn sustainability while they attend school, not only sort of through the cognitive curriculum content. I think that the climate crisis is so dramatic that education really needs to fundamentally transform itself in order to be able to address the climate crisis. I mean, we cannot do anything against the climate crisis through some kind of old style teaching, through sort of compartmentalization to different subject areas where sort of everyone goes in their own direction. And so we really need a very kind of holistic and fundamental transformation of the education system. And we're very happy to see that this view also gains traction.
Thank you, Alexander. It has been a great pleasure to have you in the Net Zero, and clearly we have to keep working to achieve our Net Zero. I am Sofia Lana. I have my voice to the voices of my Net Zero International youth peers to monitor the actions of our world leaders to achieve their Net Zero commitments.